Welcome to the Electric Playground. Today on the show, we're charging up the flux capacitor in the rundown.
+4. Marissa tries for a hole-in-one with a closer look at Rory McIlroy's PGA Tour.
And then Scott hits the set of Continuum for an exclusive look at the final season. Also coming up, Steve and Raju raise their shields with a look at a new gadget from Nvidia. Jose and Ben catch up with their old pal Kratos, and much more today on EP Daily. Brought to you by EB Games. I'm your host, Victor Lucas, bringing you the latest and everything cool every single day. And this show is made for everyone to enjoy. Unless you're a filthy orc or a goblin, then you can get lost. For everyone else, here's the rundown. PC gamers might want to prepare themselves for another Dawn of Warhammer. Earlier this year, Sega registered domain names for Dawn of War 3, which means the publisher is likely working on a new game in the Warhammer 40K series. The Dawn of War games are developed by Vancouver-based Relic Entertainment and offer real-time strategy gameplay featuring the hulking Space Marines. The previous Dawn of War games, which were awesome, were published by THQ before the company went bankrupt and Relic was sold to Sega. We'll let you know if Dawn of War 3 becomes a reality. Another Sega studio, the Creative Assembly, is working on Total War Warhammer, a crossover of the Warhammer and Total War franchises. That comes out later this year. It seems that every recognizable franchise is getting a reboot, but here's one that isn't. Back to the Future creators Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale have both confirmed that they will never make or allow to be made a sequel, remake, or reboot of the time-traveling series. This isn't the first time that they've said this, but they've had to reiterate it because more and more fans have been asking for a new film because it's the 30th anniversary of the original. Yes, it's been 30 years since the first Back to the Future came out, but I still don't see any flying cars or hoverboards. Zemeckis jokes that the studio could try to make a new movie when he and Bob Gale are dead, but hopefully that won't be for a while.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Talking about orcs and Biff from Back to the Future with my pal Marissa Roberto. Now, Back to the Future, they say never going to be a reboot, never going to get a sequel. They're done. And this is Zemeckis and Gale saying they're never going to do this again. What do you think?
That's amazing.
Does that feel all right?
Yes, I'm so happy with this. Are you kidding me? These are classic movies. I should stay classic movies. And I want people to always know this version of those movies. I want them to always identify Michael J. Fox. I want all these characters to remain the characters that they are with the actors that they had in this movie.
Yeah, there are some good reboots. There are some things that are genuinely surprising, like the 21 Jump Street movies have actually been pretty fun. But there's a whole litany of failed reboots, and Terminator Genesis was just a recent one, where you reference the source and you reference the classic stuff so much that you can't help but think about how much better it used to be. And that movie has stood the test of time, and it's something that every generation needs to enjoy in its pure state. So I applaud these guys.
Absolutely. No, we're just going to get like the box set, show it to your kid, show it to Ruby when she's old enough, and she can pass that along to you.
I bought the box set a lot, actually.
I'm sure you have, Victor.
Bravo, Hollywood. Now, something that we do want a sequel to is Dawn of War. This is, I'll tell you something about this franchise. Every time I get a new PC, this is one of the first games that I load on it. I go into my Steam account and I load in Dawn of War and Dawn of War 2. I find those games unbelievably accessible and so fun and deep. They still hold up, and I can't wait to see these guys take this one on, again.
I just respect the heck out of Relic Entertainment. They know what they're doing. They've been doing this for a long time. They know exactly what their fans want. They're just very meticulous. I enjoy what they've been putting out.
Dawn of War, with its fantastical setting, they can go into lots of cool places. And it's crazy that Sega has these two massive real-time strategy companies with Creative Assembly, who's also working on a Warhammer game, which I'm also excited about.
We just need to shout out the Canadian love and the Vancouver-based company with Relic. That's pretty cool.
I'm just happy to hear that this is percolating. It's just a rumor right now. I think it's a speculation because they have the
we'll
URL.
Get the scoop for you, don't worry.
But I hope they do it. I'm excited about that. All right, right now it's time to go and take a look at Rory McIlroy PGA Tour. Here's a look at the game.
Tell me all about your game game, I feel like this is a really exciting moment for all golf fans everywhere.
Yeah, we are super excited to be sharing the game with the world now. Finally, EA Sports Rory McIlroy PGA Tour. The team really did a great job delivering golf without limits. And what that means is that everything about this game is brand new, written from the ground up. First thing to talk about is the fact that the game uses the Frostbite engine, which is the game that powers other EA titles like Battlefield and Need for Speed. And that's allowed us to do a ton of new things that we were never able to do in the game before. Probably the biggest thing is the fact that we can stream our environments in now. Before we had to deliver, one course was like 18 individual little courses, and there would be these load times for each hole to load, 30 to 45 seconds. So now you can play an entire round of golf about 15, 20 minutes less. So it takes about 20 minutes to play a full 18-hole round of golf now. That was a big game changer for us. It also now gives us the ability, if you spray the ball off the beaten path, you can play the ball wherever it lands. And if you're in the trees, if you're in trouble, you can have fun getting out of trouble. Before, we would just say, nope, that's out of bounds. We'd re-tee you on the tee box, and you'd be hitting threes.
Something else that happened here is that Tiger Woods is not on the cover.
You know, we've got Rory McIlroy. We really felt like this is our first time delivering the next generation of golf. So it's the first time on the Gen 4 consoles. And Rory really represents the next generation of golfers. There's this young, up-and-coming crew of golfers. You know, Jordan Spieth, Ricky Fowler, Rory himself. He's the #1 golfer in the world. Already multiple majors under his belt.
What I love about games like these is that I can actually customize my character, and I'm wondering if I can do that here and how deep the customization actually goes.
Yeah, absolutely. One of our other pillars is golf your way, and really that's a level of customization, not only from being able to create yourself in the game and customize your outfits. We actually give you the ability this year, just like in real golf, to have your Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday outfit. So you can fully customize that, take your character through a full career mode. We also allow you to customize the way you actually play the game with our gameplay style. So if you want an easier way to experience the game, you can play with the arcade settings. We brought back the classic 3-click gameplay style to the game, and we also have the tour settings, which is a real test of golf. That takes into account your tempo and your speed. You can fully customize your experience from your character that you create to the way you play the game, and even to the type of course you play on. We've got real authentic courses, but we also have a few fantasy courses that we've added. Because the game's on Frostbite, we've got one of the maps from Battlefield in, and we brought that into the game, and we built a golf course on it. So cool. We also built a course on the Grand Canyon. So for those golf enthusiasts that said, wouldn't it be cool to play golf in the Grand Canyon? Well, now you can. We've actually built a course, and we've got some really cool things on that Grand Canyon course where maybe the most obvious path to the hole isn't the most direct. So we've added like little shortcuts. You can bounce it off canyon walls. I'm not going to give away any secrets, but you'll have fun exploring the courses in a way that you've never done before.
Rory McIlroy PGA Tour is out now. It looks great. Haven't played it yet because Comic-Con, Batman, a couple things.
Yeah,
Reviews coming soon.
We do love golf, though. We'll ease our way into that one. Don't go anywhere, because after the break, Scott catches up with the cast of Continuum. Welcome back to EP Daily. You know, Scott Jones, you've done a few set visits in your day, but you've gone to the Continuum set a few times now. So do they invite you to their craft services table? Like, what's your relationship like with them?
Well, I go with the cameraman Enzo, and they usually leave 2 little bowls out for us with food and water in them, and then we can eat there or not eat there. But listen, Continuum is wrapping up its time on television, and we got to see its final days. Roll tape.
I have gone down a dangerous path, and I have taken the world with me.
I'm here with Simon Barry. Of course, he is in charge of Continuum. Continuum, some good news and some bad news here. Tell me what's going on.
Well, we're shooting our final season. The good news is we get to write an ending and shoot an ending and resolve all of these storylines and characters from the last 3 seasons. And the bad news is it's our last season. But as I've been saying to a lot of people, I'd probably trade having extra seasons and not being able to write an ending, and to have an ending that we can actually control and write. In a lot of ways, this is a good thing for the show, and I'm not too upset about it.
So, looking back over the course of Continuum, are you surprised that it was as successful as it was?
It's an interesting question, because when I read the script, the first script, I was about 10 pages in, and I said, I have to do this. This is phenomenal. The writing is great. The story is great. The story possibilities are limitless. And you never want to say, no, I'm not surprised at all. We thought we were fantastic from the beginning. But there are so many good TV shows that don't ever find an audience, and then there are some not so good ones that find a huge audience. So I think we always believed deep down that we had something really special, and we got very fortunate that it caught on the way that it did and spread across the world the way that it did. And I think it's something that we were always cautiously optimistic about, but then it exceeded our wildest expectations.
I feel like fans have really gotten attached to your character in a shorter amount of time. You know, they haven't had you around as long as they have had some of the other characters. Why do you think that is? Why are people so attached to you?
You know, I don't know. I think there's an interesting sensitivity. There's an interesting connection between Brad and Kira that I think the fans have gravitated towards. I feel really lucky that they've been so kind. It's a really, really supportive fan base that we have here. I mean, I'm stoked. And I got a great scene partner in Rachel.
Come on, Alec, don't make me break your arm.
Eric, I know that there's some sad news going on. Continuum is coming to an end. How does your character, not you, feel about that?
As Alec? It's a little sad. I mean, it's, he's saying, well, I don't want to give away too much, but it's sad for all of us. It's bittersweet, though. I'm glad that we have a season to end it, at least. Season 3, we weren't even sure if we were going to come back. Now we have 6 episodes to pack everything in there. We're not stretching it out for an entire season. Now it's just going to be an action-packed season with lots to come.
Obviously, Continuum, a big celebration of science fiction. Is science fiction something you'd want to do again in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. I think science fiction gives you an opportunity to bring big themes, a metaphor, parable into storytelling in a way that it almost demands that you have a big idea. I personally like big ideas, not necessarily in a way that they weigh down the storytelling, but they elevate the characters and the stories. You have to ask yourself, what is this about? You have to say, well, I know I'm talking about time travel, but people don't relate to time travel. What do they relate to? And you find the analogies in those big concepts, those high concepts that do have an impact on people, or at least promote debate.
I know you got to get back to shooting, but just give me some beard tips before you go. What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong here?
You're doing good so far, but you got to make sure you clean the side edges, otherwise you get the Papa Smurf thing.
Okay, I'm getting a little bit of that.
So you want to
yeah.
clean up the Papa Smurf a little bit. Just keep it short in here.
So short in through here, no Papa Smurf.
Nope. You don't want the Papa Smurf unless you're going for the big beard, and then you can pull it off.
Okay.
But you got a nice shaped face, so you want to accent the jawline. This is what I was told. I'm just passing on information that was given to me.
So someone told you to tell me that I have a nice shaped face?
Yeah, she's right over there.
Final season of Continuum begins airing this September, and from me to you, to the entire cast of Continuum, thanks for the memories.
Aw, and the bowls of
food.
Very sweet. Guess what? It's time to board the Toronto train. We're going there because the Gadgeteers are up. They've got the Nvidia Shield Android TV.
The Gadgeteers are back, and today we're looking at a device that I think is one of the most interesting things we've looked at in a while. This is the Nvidia Shield TV. This is an Android set-top box.
Now, we looked at the 16 gigabyte version, which is $200 US. There's also a 500 gigabyte Pro version for $300 US. It hooks up very simply. You connect to your Google account, and it's got all your YouTube settings. It's got all your, Google Play, Google Music. It's a decent little box with some really interesting kind of gamery stuff layered on top.
First off, absolutely probably one of the slickest experiences of these things that I think we've seen. It does come with probably the highest processor I've ever seen in one of these things so far. Obviously the Nvidia tech is there. I downloaded Crossy Road and Does Not Commute and played them on my TV, even though these are phone games that I do love, just to see, because they were free. I was just testing it out. But then they have a bunch of other smaller games, and then they're gonna actually have games like, Metal Gear Revengeance is coming on there.
The Android gaming, it is a catalog of Android games you're probably familiar with, and they cost, $2, $3, $4, $5. I've never had so much fun playing games like Asphalt 8. I've played that on all the Android tablets I've ever had. It's actually kind of fun to sit on your couch on a big screen with the proper gaming controller and play that game. It actually plays pretty well. And they are introducing their own Nvidia Shield versions of games. Like I was playing Half-Life 2 Episode 2, and I'm thinking, how is this going to run on an Android box? There's no way this can run. It looks good. The game is several years old now, so it looks like a several-year-old game, but it played smoothly. It looks good. Resident Evil 5 is coming out. They've got some high-end games coming to this device. The really interesting stuff happens in the Shield Hub, and that's where you've got the Nvidia Grid, which is kind of a subscription service, and the streaming stuff. So what was your experience with the Nvidia Grid stuff?
It seems like they've got like Warner's catalog, and I think Capcom and Namco Bandai. They're older games, but they're coming up. But The last 3 Batman games are there. Strider was a game that I was like, I never played this on the Xbox One. Why not? And everything seemed to work pretty well.
So it's what it is. It's streaming. It's like PlayStation Now or these other streaming services that have come and gone, not really caught on. You're streaming the games over your hopefully very robust internet connection. It allows you to test your connection. And I'm like, there's no way this is going to work properly. So I fired up Arkham City. I'm like, going into combat, this feels lag-free. I mean, there's a little bit of frame stutter here and there just as you're walking around the world, but considering the game is basically playing on a server somewhere and the video being shot back to this little tiny box from my TV, I was shocked how well it played.
I was really, really impressed. There are a lot of things I really like about this device. I think it works very well. I just think it's going to take a really sort of unique person or household where it'll really fit. What do you think of the Nvidia Shield TV?
It's the best Android box you've looked at with a really gamery bent. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10.
7.5 for me.
My vengeance ends now.
Welcome back to EP Daily. It is time now for us to check in with one of our favorite characters, Kratos, Athena! God of War 3 Remastered has come out for the PlayStation 4. Ben and Jose have reviewed it. Here's the review.
It has been a while since I got to do my Kratos impersonation, but now he is back.
I was dreading it. I knew you were going to do that.
Yeah, I had to get it out right away. This is God of War 3.
My vengeance ends now.
This was not my favorite God of War game. I'm going to be honest with you people. I think God of War 2 is the best in the series, and we all know that. And I didn't play God of War 3 through to the finish when it first came out on the PlayStation 3. I kind of got burnt out on it. I played about halfway through.
You didn't complete the saga?
I didn't. I gave up on it. So I was excited to come back to it. So like I could finally get through it, play more, and see what it was like now on a new system. I mean, at the time...
And in HD.
And in HD. I mean, at the time when this game came out, it was a big deal for the PlayStation 3. It was the first God of War, the only God of War to really be made for the PS3. And it came out a little later in the PS3's life. It came out in, I think, 2010. And they really did an amazing job harnessing the power of that system. It was one of the most amazing, epic-looking games on the PS3. I was interested to see if it still looked epic. It does.
It does.
This is still a pretty epic game, dude. This did look good. I mean, this is a very pretty game. I really like what they did with the pore. A lot of pores.
Yeah.
You can really see that guy needs to, you know, have some benzoyl peroxide, put some on here and there, because he's got some little pimples you can now see on the HD version.
That's pretty much the highlight. That's it. Now you can see Kratos' blemishes.
Yes.
In full 1080p 60 frames a second HD.
It's true.
Yeah.
He hates everyone.
That's why it's a great conclusion to the
God.
finale. Zeus! Gaia!
Yeah, but even
Hades!
Well, okay, like we know he's screaming at everybody. But at least he's upset with the gods. Like he has a reason, right? Like Ares ruined his family, he killed Ares, and then now Zeus is a jerk, and he's got a revenge quest against them. It's everybody else that gets caught up in his storm. Like he's in Hades, and there's these like poor souls who are there like, help, Kratos, I'm in hell, I've been here forever. And he's like, oh, shit. And then I'm like, dude.
Feel the wrath of my chaos blade!
Why are you such a dick? That's just a guy.
He's angry, man.
It's just another guy in hell. Like, help him out.
He can't, man. He is on a quest, and anyone who stands in his way will feel the wrath of Kratos.
Absurd. What did you think about coming back to this game? Is this something PS4 owners should buy? That's the big question.
It's a tough one. I mean, if you haven't played this, if Ascension was your first jump into God of War and you kind of missed how Kratos became such a pissed off, angry Spartan, it's definitely worth checking out. And even if you have the PS3 version, it's still worth looking at how pretty Kratos is, because this is probably the last new God of War game you'll get for a little bit.
I think so. The only thing I will say as a caveat is that this game just starts, you know, in the middle of this tale.
Yeah.
So if you didn't play God of War 2 or God of War 1,
What is happening?
what is happening?
It starts off with a climb up Mount Olympus to fight Zeus.
They don't set it up much at all. There's like the intro sequence just has those kind of, you know, weird art paintings, and you're like, okay, it looks like I'm just mad. I'm climbing a giant and I'm mad. I would say this game, because it doesn't have the other games on this disc, if you just start here, you're going to be a little lost. But it doesn't really matter, because it's not about the story. This particular God of War is about the anger and the killing and the murder, and they do that pretty well. That's why I'm giving God of War 3 Remastered an 8 out of 10.
I'm giving it an 8.5.
8.5!
You're gonna get hit by lightning if you scream that loud.
I know, I can hear it.
I know.
Thanks, boys. God of War 3 Remastered is in stores right now, but don't go anywhere because coming up after this, we've got the Twitter question of the day coming at you.
If you want more EP, go to our website, epn.tv, for bonus content and full episodes. We're also on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to EP Daily. It's time now for the best part of today's show and every show. Of course, it is the Twitter question of the day. This one comes from James L. Harper Jr. Well, he is that blue man foo. I like that. I like that a lot.
There's a story there.
I know. He says, if you could turn a bad movie into an awesome video game, what would you choose? Good one.
That is one of my favorite questions. That's a fantastic question.
A really good one, yeah. So now you have to answer.
Well, I think I would love to see, this isn't really a bad movie, the sequel was Escape from L.A. I loved Escape from New York.
All right.
But it's, either one of those could be an incredible video game.
Okay, well, this movie wasn't bad to me because I still enjoy it, Demolition Man.
Right. They did turn that into a game. There was a Demolition Man. Yeah, Tommy actually worked on it.
No,
he was on set.
on.
He was on set with Wesley Snipes and Sylvester Stallone.
No.
He's got all the framed pictures in his house if you ever go and visit him.
Okay, Tommy, send me a copy, man. What are you waiting for?
It wasn't great. It wasn't a high mark in the video game industry. That's why you never heard of it.
Okay.
But good question, though, and I think this is something that we should bring up in our next Fixed Basement episode. I think that's good enough to have a nice conversation around.
Definitely.
Remember, you can get caught up on full episodes and ask us questions if you've got some at epn.tv.
We got more coming through in the next episode of EP Daily, including our review of Southpaw. So here's a look at the movie.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
EP would like to thank its sponsors, Nintendo, Xbox. EP's mobile coverage is brought to you by Gameloft, makers of Asphalt 8 Airborne, which you can play on your Android or iOS device for free right now.
You want me to come with you?
No, man. I gotta do this alone.
So what brings Billy Hope into my gym?
I'm looking for a job, maybe place to trade.
You couldn't handle the rules here, man.
I can't lose my daughter. I'll give you my everything.
Somebody help me, please!
I know that you're mad at me right now.
You don't know anything.
She doesn't want to see you today.
Tell her I love her.
You gotta let her hate you so she can get better.